By morning, the storm had already begun. Someone from the senior leadership had seen Vic's new structure. Someone who didn't appear anywhere in the core alignment circles. Someone who, until yesterday, believed their influence was untouchable. And now, they felt threatened. Rumors started reaching the corridors faster than the sunrise. But politics was only half the fire. The two people Vic had removed from key roles, they weren't quiet either. One had sent him a message at 3:12 a.m., short, confused, nearly broken. The other had stormed into HR before the building lights were even on, angry, hurt, and humiliated. Between fear from the top and pain from the teen below, Vic found himself at the center of a storm he didn't intend to create.
And for the first time since his return, he questioned the purity of what he had done.
Did clarity lead this action? Or did I just break people because I believed I was right?
Two battlefield arrows from two different directions now pierced the same doubt. On one side, the politics of threatened power. On the other, the emotional weight of real human consequence. And right between them stood a leader trying to act without ego, without fear, without attachment. But clarity can feel cruel when the world prefers comfort.
Centuries earlier, Arjuna stood on his own fault line, torn between duty and consequence. Is action still dharma if its results cause suffering? He had asked. Krishna looked at him with a compassion deeper than the sky, because this is where the mystery of Chapter 4 begins to unfold. What is truly right action? What is disguised inaction? What is wrong action born from fear? And who decides the purity behind a choice?
As the boardroom door opened and the politics inside tightened around him, Vic felt the tremble of a leader caught between clarity and consequence. And in that exact tension, verses 17 to 21 waited for him. Welcome back. This is Beyond the Battlefield, episode 46. And now, Krishna begins the part of Chapter 4 where he clears the biggest confusion about action itself.
What is action? What is inaction? Even the wise are confused by this. Therefore, I shall explain to you what action truly is, knowing which you will be freed from all misfortune.
This is verse 17. So Krishna is saying, even smart people get this wrong?
Yes, he's telling Arjuna, before fighting, before choosing, before deciding, understand what action really means. Krishna now divides action into three simple categories. Not complicated, just honest. 1. Karma, right action. Action done from clarity, responsibility, sincerity. It's the action you know you must do. It purifies the mind. This is action aligned with your dharma. 2. Vikarma, wrong action. Action done from fear, desire, pressure, ego, avoidance. This is action that feels wrong inside even if it looks fine on the surface. This is where most confusion sits. We act, but our motive is shaky. 3. Akarma, action without attachment. This is the key. akarma show action done without any attachment to the result, as an offering to the divine, leaving no karmic reaction. Not laziness, not avoidance, not doing nothing. It means you act because it is right. You don't cling to outcome. You don't act for reward. You don't act out of fear. Akarma is action that frees the soul.
And in the boardroom, Vic was standing inside all three at the same time. His restructuring was karma, aligned. The pressure and rumors around him were pushing toward vikarma, fear-driven response. But the path Krishna points to, akarma, was asking him to stay steady, act without attachment, and not reverse the decision just to please anyone. This was his battlefield.
So verse 17 is basically check the intention inside your action.
Exactly. The same action can liberate you or bind you depending on the motive behind it.
Verse 17 sets the stage. It tells Arjuna and us that action is not judged by appearance, but by the consciousness behind it. And with that clarity, Krishna leads Arjuna into the next verse. Verse 18. After explaining the three kinds of action, Krishna takes Arjuna one level deeper, into a verse that flips the world upside down.
One who sees action in inaction and inaction in action, that person is truly wise. They remain perfectly situated in yoga and their actions are complete.
Ankur, this sounds like a riddle.
It is a riddle, but a practical one. Krishna is revealing two truths about human behavior. First, action in inaction. The still person who is actually avoiding. Some people sit still, but inside they are running. They avoid tough conversations. They postpone decisions. They escape responsibility. From the outside, they look calm. Inside, they are in full action. Mental noise, fear, confusion. This is inaction that is actually harmful. Second, inaction in action. The person who acts without ego. This is the opposite. Some people work intensely, but inside they are silent, steady, still. No ego, no craving, no fear, no attachment. From the outside they look busy. Inside they are peaceful. Their action creates no karma. That is akarma. Action that feels like stillness inside.
So the wise person knows that outer appearance means nothing?
Exactly. Krishna is saying don't judge action by noise or movement. Judge it by the inner state behind the action.
And this verse was unfolding inside Vic's morning. When the senior leaders pressured him, he felt the temptation to stay silent, avoid conflict, undo decisions. From the outside, that silence might look peaceful. But inside? It would be fear-driven. That is, action in inaction, avoiding under the name of calm. And his clarity from last night, the restructuring he created without ego, that was inaction in action. He acted, but inside, he was still. This is what Krishna was teaching.
So verse 18 is really about honesty with ourselves, isn't it?
Yes, Krishna is telling Arjuna, look inside your action. Don't be fooled by how it looks from the outside.
Verse 18 gives Arjuna the lens. Now Krishna will show him what clarity looks like when a person acts from the highest state. By the time the sun cleared the skyline, the fallout had sharpened. HR had sent Vic two updates. One employee he had moved out was crying in the wellness room, and the other had demanded a grievance review. Meanwhile, a senior leader, who felt quietly dethroned by Vic's new structure, had begun assembling a concerned voices group behind closed doors. Pressure from below, politics from above, and inside Vic, a familiar storm had returned.
You should reverse the decision. You went too far. Fix it before it spreads. Stand your ground. Act from clarity, not fear.
Vic stood still for a moment, but inside, the two voices clashed like swords.
Ankur, verse 19 feels like it is happening inside Vic right now.
Yes, because verse 19 describes the person whose action creates no inner disturbance, even when the outer world shakes.
One whose actions are free from desire and selfish motives, whose deeds are burned by the fire of knowledge. The wise call such a person truly learned.
So Ankur, what is Krishna really saying here?
Krishna is describing a person whose actions are pure, not emotionally pure, but spiritually pure. When Krishna says desireless, he doesn't mean the person has no wishes. He means no craving for praise, no fear of blame, no hunger for validation, no panic about results. The action itself is done because it is right, not because of what it brings. The mind is clean at the moment of action.
What does that mean? Burned in knowledge?
It means the person acts knowing who they are, not from ego, not from insecurity, not from emotional impulsiveness. And when you act from clarity, you don't become the doer of the action. So the action leaves no stain. Not a scholar, not someone with books, not someone who quotes scriptures. A Pandit in the Gita means one whose inner state stays clear even while acting.
At 10:08 a.m., Vic opened the door to his office. Two unread messages blinked on his screen. The first, a long, emotional note from the employee who felt abandoned. The second, a clipped, cold sentence from the senior leader. "We need to talk. Today." His breath tightened. His pulse rose. The floor felt thinner under his feet.
You caused this. People are hurting. Pull back. Soften the structure. Undo the damage.
But then,
No. You acted from clarity. You acted from truth. Let the reactions come. Let your intention remain pure.
Vic closed his eyes, not to escape, but to anchor. And in that moment, he stepped into the doorway of verse 19. Action done without desire is action that cannot bind. He wasn't acting to be liked. He wasn't acting to be right. He wasn't acting to protect a title. He acted because after long confusion and long silence, the truth of the structure was finally clear. And that clarity, pure, steady, undesiring, was the fire of knowledge Krishna spoke of.
So Vic's outer storm is really a test of his inner purity.
Exactly. Verse 19 is teaching him and all of us that purity of intention is stronger than the noise of reaction.
Verse 19 shows Arjuna the state of a karma yogi, one whose actions leave no burden inside. And now, Krishna prepares Arjuna for the next leap, the highest freedom in action. In verse 20, Krishna now reveals a truth that overturns how we judge ourselves and how we judge others.
Giving up attachment to the results of action, ever satisfied within, taking refuge in nothing external, such a person, even while engaged in action, incurs no bondage.
Ankur, Krishna is saying something very subtle here.
Yes, he is revealing how the enlightened work. Outwardly they may seem active, but inwardly they remain untouched. One, giving up attachment to fruit. They act because action is right, not because they need a result. Their inner motive is pure, their mind is clean. 2. Ever satisfied within. Their satisfaction comes from being inwardly connected with God, with truth, with the higher self. When the mind rests in the divine, nothing outside can shake it. 3. Independent of external supports. This is key. The enlightened do not depend on praise, approval, outcome, title, or reward. Their inner anchor makes them independent of circumstance.
How can someone act and yet be considered a non-doer?
Because action is not judged by what hands do. Action is judged by the state of the mind. Even if the enlightened appear active, their mind remains absorbed, steady, satisfied, surrendered. Because they act from devotion, not desire, their actions do not bind them. This is akarma, action that looks like action but internally is pure inaction. Meaning, outward motion, inward stillness, no ego, no residue, no bondage.
As Vic stood before the leadership team, he realized he could not control the reactions, the politics, the interpretations. But he could control one thing: the state of mind from which he acted. If he acted to win approval, to repair image, to avoid discomfort, he would fall into bondage. But if he acted from truth, without clinging to the outcome, holding nothing inside him, his action would be a karma, action without inner disturbance.
You must protect yourself. You must fix their anger. Let go of outcomes. Stand in clarity. Act from alignment.
And in that moment, Vic felt a strange steadiness settle within him. Not confidence, not boldness, but quiet independence from everything happening around him. This exact state was verse 20. Acting outwardly, unmoved inwardly, free from the weight of results.
So, the enlightened person isn't defined by what they're doing, but by the consciousness in which they act?
Outwardly they may engage fully, but inwardly they remain in God, in silence, in surrender.
Verse 20 teaches us that the world sees action, but Krishna sees the mind. And with this clarity, he prepares Arjuna for the next step in understanding the freedom of the karma yogi. As we end today's journey with Vic, we leave him in a strange stillness. A stillness not of comfort, but of preparation. Because the world outside him is shifting, and something inside him has begun to awaken. Krishna's teachings will pick up again from verse 21 onward, where action dissolves into inner freedom. But before we step forward on Arjuna's battlefield, we must step backward into a far older one. A battlefield not of warriors, but of calendars, of shadows, of suns, of forgotten time. Because sometimes, to understand Dharma, you must first understand time itself. And that brings us to our next chapter, the bonus episode. A doorway hidden inside the rivers, mountains, ruins, and stories of a land older than history and wiser than memory. A land whose knowledge was carried by caravans into Persia, sung by wanderers beneath northern skies, and whispered into oceans long before the West learned to sail. Next time, we follow that whisper. Prepare for part 2 of our special series, India Unwritten, Beyond Times. An episode where time collapses, lost civilizations speak again, maps redraw themselves, and forgotten voices return, with stories no textbook ever told. What you'll hear next is not just history, it is memory. Memory carried across deserts, seas, and ice. Memory that traveled from Harappa to Persia, to Ireland, to Scandinavia, and back home to the valley that once was a lake. Memory that will change how you see India forever.
Join us for that journey. And as always, if today's episode stirred something in you, share it with someone walking their own inner battle. Write to us anytime at beyondthebattlefield@outlook.in. And don't forget, your Beyond the Battlefield GPT companion link is waiting in the description to go deeper into today's verses and reflections. Like, share, subscribe, and keep your heart steady as you walk between worlds.
Until next time, stay curious, stay awake, and remember, some stories don't end. They wait.